So there is some interesting green technologies. Everyone set? Almost? Yeah. So now we had some technical information from university, from the Port of Antwerp Bruges. And now we're continuing the day, or the morning at least, with some European projects. We have 3 European projects today. And all those projects are funded by Horizon Europe, if I'm not mistaken. And they are included in this day because this day is all about what's possible today. And these 3 projects are not maybe the best examples of what's possible today, but they are pioneers in some way. And they are adding to the transition and the green puzzle that we're trying to make. So the first speaker is Igor. I'm going to let you introduce yourself, and he's going to talk about the very first European project, Synergetics. So, floor is yours. You're going to stand there, or you want to speak?
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks to the organizers for having me here today. Yeah, this one. Okay. Yeah, better one. Okay. Good. I used to be a university professor, so I think I can command the room also without the microphone. But for those who are online, they would need it. Thanks to the organizers for inviting us to present our brand new project, which is called Synergetics. Synergetics is, of course, an acronym. It stands for Synergies for Green Transformation of Inland and Coastal Shipping. Right. Okay, I will introduce myself briefly. My name is Igor Bačkalov. I come from DST. DST is a research institute in Western Germany, in Duisburg. Duisburg is, as you may know, also the largest inland port in the world. So we are on the Rhine. We have 7 decades of experience in research on shipping. So we have high stakes in inland and coastal shipping as well. The focus of our research has been historically on shallow water hydrodynamics. However, we have a long history also on logistics in inland navigation. And as of, let's say, a couple of recent years, we are developing a separate or let's say an additional direction in our research. We are very much into autonomous vessels. We are hosting a remote control center, and just some weeks ago we have also launched our own autonomous vessel for the research purposes, of course. So that's about me. That's about DST. Here are some, let's say, data, general information about Synergetics. There are quite a lot of data there, but actually I would like you to, let's say, I would like to draw your attention to 2 facts, which are perhaps most interesting for the audience today. One is related to the issue that, to the fact that Synergetics is actually a project which addresses the potential of greening of fleets by means of retrofit. So we are looking into existing vessels, and we are looking into technologies that we could deploy on existing vessels. And by saying that, you have seen also that Synergetics is a so-called innovation action. So for those who are not too much into European projects, innovation action is a type of a project which, to simplify, let's say, involves or requires a high technology readiness level to be achieved at the end of the project. So this means that the technologies that we are going to test, the technologies that we are going to use in the project are going to be ready. It is required that they are ready to be deployed by the end of the project. So in, let's say, 3.5 years from now, we are going to achieve more or less that stage that we can develop, that we can deploy these technologies on vessels. That's one thing, and another thing which is also interesting, and Daisy mentioned that this is a project which is a Horizon Europe project, so it is funded by European Commission, but it is not entirely funded publicly. This is also, I think, interesting and important to note. First of all, it is funded not only by European Commission, but also by Swiss and UK agencies, because we also have associated partners from Switzerland and United Kingdom. But this is also public money. But another important thing is that, and this is related to the fact that this is an innovation action. Innovation action implicitly requires high involvement of industry. So if we want to achieve these high technology readiness levels, we cannot do it without industry. And also this project requires that we demonstrate these technologies. So we cannot do it as a research institute alone. We cannot do it. We need a lot of industry to be involved. And then industry as profit entities, they are not entitled to 100% refunding rate. So actually their rate was quite, I would say, discouraging. In this case, it was only 60%. However, and this is, I think, a point that we would like to, that we should understand, they still found a lot of interest to be involved in a project like this. And I will try to explain throughout the presentation why. As you can see, there are quite some industry players here, Mercurius Shipbuilding, Kudod, Zero Emission Services also here today. Then CMB Tech, we have seen Hydrotag, they're also involved in our project. Sogestran here also as well today with us. So quite some industry representatives with, as I said, lower funding rates, but still they found a way, still they found an interest to participate in our project. And a part of this, a part of the answer why they found an interest to participate in this is that from the very beginning we understood that we are dealing with a very complex issue. So if we want to find, let's say, an appropriate solution for greening retrofit, first of all we need to understand that we are dealing with, as Daisy pointed out this morning, different fleet families. But it's not just the fleet families, actually. The vessels, they differ by size, by type, by classes and so on, but they also differ by operational profiles. So even within the fleet family, we may find some different operational profiles, and this can play a huge role in deciding which type of technology would be the best one. So this is what we knew from the very beginning, and then of course with, let's say, limited resources we cannot provide perfect answers to just any problem. But in the same time we knew something else, and that is that there are many, and we have seen quite a lot actually this morning, there are many initiatives around. So either public or private, or people who are venturing into new technologies, or people who are venturing into new business models, which is also very relevant for this issue. So we understood that we need to establish living connections with entrepreneurs, with industry, with other research institutes, with all sorts of industry stakeholders, and doing that across Europe. And also we understood that we need to establish a connection also with the policymakers and also with the regulatory bodies, because what we have seen throughout the proposal phase, when we were preparing the proposal for this project, we have seen that there are quite some regulatory obstacles. So even when the technology is available, even if there is a business model which could be successful, then there is let's say a last but not the least, unfortunately, obstacle, and that is a regulatory obstacle, because which prevents a deployment of certain technology for some reason. And it's also one of the issues we would like to tackle in this project, how to alleviate this problem. This chart should help us understand how we intend to build these synergies between different stakeholders, and how we're going to draw on the existing knowledge and existing experience. We basically have three different sources of knowledge and experience. One is exploration, what we call exploration, and that is tapping into the existing knowledge, something that we can learn from projects which are already projects and studies and other research institutes, something which has been done in past, and some existing living knowledge. On the other hand, we have synchronization, and it is another source of knowledge. It is, let's say, an activity within the project where we synchronize with existing pilots and existing research projects. You have seen this morning, and you're going to yet to see, there are many projects around. People are exploring different properties of new technologies, new fuels, but also the business models, how we can, you know, deal with the energy, what to do with the infrastructure, how to make it feasible, and so on. And we want to synchronize, we want to learn from these pilots. You have seen the hydrogen has already been deployed, for instance, on hydrotug. Methanol as well on different vessels, a whole range of vessels and so on. So there is experience there. There is already knowledge. We don't need to start from scratch. We can make a living connection with these pilots and learn from them and build this into our future activities. And then there is a third and let's say, I wouldn't say the most important, but the most attractive part of the most attractive source of learning, and that is the demonstration. And here are the technologies that we are going to demonstrate on the existing vessels. I'll come back to that in a moment. But combining these knowledge coming from 3 different resources, we are coming to an integration activity of the project. And this integration is, as you can see here, there is a word, a term which says the catalog. We intend to build a catalog. And I will also tell you something more about the catalog later on. But the basic idea is that when we integrate the knowledge that we have from these 3 different resources, we come up with really a catalog of possibilities. And this catalog of possibilities is something which is going to enable, think of a ship owner, he has a ship or she has a ship of a certain size, of a certain operational profile, wants to make a transition towards decarbonization, and there is the catalog which we have built, and you can look into this catalog and try to find the solutions which are the best one for you. And we will not stop there, because after the catalog we have what we call acceleration. It is another activity which furthers on the use of the catalog, because the catalog as itself, I wouldn't say exactly it is going to be a static tool, but based on the catalog we can also develop different tools. One tool, as you're going to see later on, which is going to aim ship owners, and another tool which is going to aim policymakers, how to make a good policy decisions in future that are going to lead us towards more efficient decarbonization, I would say. I will say a couple of words about the demonstrators, because these are, I would say, the to me at least as a naval architect, these are the most attractive, let's say, activities within the project. We are going to have 3 different types of demonstrators within Synergetics: full-scale demonstrators, model scale, and system demonstrators. And full-scale demonstrators, they are actually 3 ships, a hydrotug, which already has dual fuel hydrogen, but we are going to do the retrofit of the gensets within the Synergetics. Then there is a cement carrier Santo, which is owned by our partner Sogestan CFT, and it will be used as a demonstrator for the electrification of the main propulsion plant. And then from the Mercurius, a demonstration of methanol combustion in dual fuel engines. So these are the existing ships. These are the existing ships that we're going to demonstrate the retrofit technologies on these existing ships. But also from, let's say, more of a scientific blend flavor point of view, we're going to do model scale demonstrators, because we are having 2 large research institutes in the shipping within the consortium, DST and Marin, very, very famous names, especially Marin, but don't tell that to us. Okay, so we are having two institutes. At the DST, we have gathered quite some experience, as I said in the beginning, with shallow water hydrodynamics. This sort of experience is something which enabled us to develop a special methodology where we provide the ship owners with a retrofit solution which foresees the complete replacement of the aft ship. So you can keep the rest of your vessel, but we are going to provide a hydrodynamically optimized aft ship. And by doing so, we will not, you know, look into the hydrodynamics only, because hydrodynamics is actually something which combines. So we're starting with the hydrodynamics, but then it affects the propulsion plant. It affects the propulsor, what kind of propulsor we are going to choose. And then this affects also the machinery, and it affects also how the machinery space looks like, and so on. So it's a complete aft ship replacement. This is something that we do at the DST. And on the other hand, Marin has a very attractive, brand new, or almost brand new research facility. It is called the Zero Emission Lab. And then within Zero Emission Lab, they are going to actually look for the best possible retrofit solution for a push boat which has been delivered these days. So we have Via Donau. Via Donau is an Austrian waterway maintenance agency, waterway management agency, as a partner in the project. But they are actually acting in our project as ship owners, because they have just launched their own push boat. This push boat is, let's say, a traditional diesel fuel one, and we are going to look within the project what would be, because it will have to transition to the, let's say, green state, to say so. So we are going to look into within the Synergetics into the best, let's say, solutions for this push boat. And then we have two system demonstrators, also quite interesting from the engineering point of view. On left-hand side, we have heard already this morning about Skandinaus. Skandinaus is a Swedish company with a lot of experience in methanol combustion, and they're going to look into. They're going to make actually quite a nice experiment. They're going to take two identical engines. They're going to retrofit them to run on methanol, but in two different ways. One will be the dual fuel engine, and the other will be compression ignited methanol engine. And they're going to look into both of these things. Are technically possible. They're both technically viable, but they all have their pros and cons, and they're going to look in detail into their pros and cons, and they're going to come up with an idea for which operational profile, which solution would be a better one. And then also we have heard, and we are yet to hear about the ships which run on fuel cells and hydrogen. It's getting quite a lot of momentum in the projects, but also in real life operation. There you need to, and we have also heard about that this morning, you need to store the energy, and then when you store this energy, you need to, let's say, efficiently manage the available energy. We still don't have sufficient experience on that. We still don't know enough about that, and we still don't have systems which are, let's say, tailor-made for that sort of technology. And this is something that we are also going to do with Synergetics. And just couple of last slides. I hope I didn't take too much time. You will have a shorter lunch break. So I mentioned a catalog. We are going to build a catalog of retrofit solutions. But you may think of a catalog as IKEA catalog. You have IKEA catalog and you want to build a kitchen. And there are the elements, but then you have your own kitchen, your own space. The window is on the left-hand side. The outlets are on the right-hand side. The outlet for water is there. Think of that in terms of your ship. If you're a ship owner, there is a catalog of solutions, but my ship is specific. It has its length, it has its propulsion power, it has its demand, it has its operational route. It has, let's say, variations over the seasons, low water period, high water period, and so on. So the catalog does not end with the catalog. The elements are there, but I need someone to build my kitchen. And there, because of that, we're going to progress from the catalog to the handbook, from implementation of greening retrofit solutions. And this is something where we are aiming at ship owners. To not only to show them which are the possibilities, but also to help them to choose the best possibilities. And on the politics side, we understand that there are many possibilities. We understand also that policymakers have, let's say, broad landscape in front of them, and that they need also some word of advice. What would be the best possible, or let's say, which are the best possible directions to move in the future. And therefore, based on the catalog, we are going to develop scenarios for policymakers so that they can understand, based on the decisions they make, what kind of future we may expect when it comes to inland and coastal shipping. Thank you very much for your attention. These are the contact names from DST, me and my colleague Benjamin Friedhoff. But you have also seen it's quite a broad consortium, 18 partners from 8 countries. Feel free to contact each of them if you have, let's say, immediate contacts with them and ask them about Synergetics. Thank you very much, and I'd be happy to answer some questions if there are some.
Yes, thank you, Igor. I don't see any online questions, but maybe there are some questions in the audience. Yes, there's a question.
Thank you very much. Well, it's rather straightforward. In order to reduce the greenhouse gases, that we should go first for an efficiency in the propulsion. But what's your idea? You were mentioning the shallow water hydrodynamics. What's your idea on air lubrification?
There is a reason why it is not in the project. I will elaborate my answer a little bit. This project comes as a response to a specific call. And this call had its own conditions. And one of the conditions was to tap into the low-hanging fruits. And these terms were actually used in the call. You could have also noticed, looking into the presentation, that not everything is there. There are technologies which are not there, and there are reasons why they're not there. Either because they are too low-hanging fruits, as we say, they're already on the floor, so why? Or they are too high-hanging fruits, and there is something that we cannot, we didn't feel that we could deploy them at a sufficiently high technology readiness level, or that it's a combination of, let's say, a level that we can achieve and the efficiency that we don't trust to be, let's say, super high in comparison to some other technologies that we may use. So air lubrication, yeah, it's a possibility, just like any other. There are some other technologies as well, but in terms of what we, let's say, can do in a most realistic terms for inland shipping in this, let's say, specific perspective of 3.5 years, that did not make our, let's say, final list, to say so. In the long run, let's see. I cannot say yes or no. I cannot say yes or no. There are some, let's say, limiting, say some limiting possibilities there, but I wouldn't go too much into it.
Thank you, Igor. You mentioned the IKEA catalog. Oh, that was very dangerous to do, because I think the technical part, the demonstrators, will not be the most difficult part of the project. Not the easy, but not the difficult part. I think the challenge will be to let's say, to copy the whole IKEA flow. People were running. Well, if I remember well, end of August, people were running to the mailbox to see if the new IKEA catalog was already there. And once they had the catalog, they ran to the IKEA shop in order to buy whatever was necessary. And I think that we have to create all together also this kind of feeling that people are eager to have this catalog available and that they can buy things at affordable prices, and that makes them, which makes them act. So how, any feeling about that? Any ideas yet?
Yeah, it's actually an excellent comment. Thank you very much for mentioning this. This is something that we also discussed during the preparation of the project, and in specific with our colleagues at the ESCB. If we make a catalog and the catalog is made and it's dead, then what's the point of the catalog? Also, we are dealing with technologies which are dynamic, so things are being evolved while we are talking here, right? So things are changing. There's a new knowledge, new experiences, and so on. So the idea was not to make a catalog and to leave it as it is, and the idea was actually to make a living tool. And this is something that we are going to look into the project, how to find an appropriate business model that would keep the catalog alive over the years to come, which also applies to the derivatives, to say so, of the catalog, the handbook and the scenarios. So yeah, it's up to the point, really. We are going to look into something which is going to be it is dangerous to say regularly updated, and you may ask how regularly, but the idea indeed is to have it alive. Yeah.
All right. Is it working? Yeah. Yeah, fair question. I have one more question. Is there still a possibility that other industry shipping partners join the project, or is the shop closed?
The shop is by no means, well, we need to define a shop, but by no means the shop is closed. This is actually what we would like to have. We would like to interact with as many partners as possible. We cannot offer any money for that. No. But in that sense, the shop is closed. But the idea behind the project is really these synergies. It's not about remaining within the project. It's not about remaining within the group.
It's a never-ending story, actually.
Yeah, indeed.
All right. Clear.
So please, if anyone would like to establish a connection with us, please do so. Yeah, we are eager. We are actually very eager for that.
I think that answers the question of Geert online. I will conclude and go to the next speaker. I can conclude that Synergetics is all about making a connection, but especially I think a catalog, we can also define it as a decision tree. And not only for entrepreneurs who want to invest in a technology, because the second bottleneck is completely covered with the Synergetics project in my opinion, but also for policymakers, a decision tree to see where do we go to, what kind of policy framework are we in need for. So it's a nice bridge you are making with this project, in my opinion. And I thank you very much for your time, for your speaking, and one more applause, and then we go to the next one.
Thank you.